And apparently his last words, what he went down in history for, was, "They couldn't hit an elephant from this disc." And that, of course, was the end of General Sedgwick. So the danger, of course, being in kind of survival, let's wait and see, is it real, isn't it real? There's a time when that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of other times when that's a dangerous kind of position to be in. The most dangerous position of all, I think, is the third choice. And we really need to take a look at where are we at, and again, how are we doing in helping others, especially during times of real tumultuous change. And that choice I would call victim. Being a victim of change. This is the person that, instead of, like the navigator, making it happen, the survivor is watching it happen. The victim is really saying, why is this crap always happening to me? And it's, well, I ran into somebody a while ago that I hadn't seen for a while who might be spending a lot of time in, well, the way one group put it, who was going through a lot of change and having a lot of difficulty with it, they said, we can visit Pity City, but it's not a healthy place to live. Right? Which was kind of a powerful way of thinking about this. And this is somebody who I think spent a lot of time in Pity City. He said, hey, Phil, how's it going? He said, same crap, different day. How do you deal with that? Because, of course, the more I look for it, the more I look for problems, the more I look for them doing it to me, and isn't it amazing how we can come up with they, and they are doing it to us, and of course, the more I find evidence of that, and I can turn around and say, see, told you, I knew that they were doing it to me. Or someone else who has spent a lot of time in this area said, I've really come to believe that gravity is a myth. The world just sucks. Again, spending just a little too much time in the whole victim kind of mode, dealing with turbulence and change. So those, I think, are the three choices. And within those choices, then, are, for me, embedded what I've come to think of as the timeless leadership principles, which is what, as Todd mentioned, my most recent book, Growing the Distance, was an attempt to try to reflect, look back over the kind of wisdom of the ages that we keep reading, hearing, and sort of intuitively know about. Look at some of the more modern research around emotional intelligence and other leadership kind of research, and really try to de-jargon and boil out and really look at what is it that keeps showing up. Well, obviously in a short time like this, I can really only just hit the very high spots, but hopefully it might act as a little bit of a few minute here kind of check up from the neck up, a bit of an opportunity to sort of reflect and say, well, how am I doing, and how am I doing in helping others? So we use what we call a leadership wheel, which is what Growing the Distance was really built around, was this model of a wheel with at the very center is our focus in context. And I think particularly in times of turbulence and change, how centered we are as individuals, how centered our organizations are, how centered our families are, our communities are, associations like this are, depend a whole lot on the clarity of three questions. Now, I've been using these three questions now for quite a number of years, actually to go back to one of my very first books, because I still find that these are the real clear core kinds of questions. And I still think the simplest way of boiling it down to even less than three questions is what someone had on a voicemail message a while ago, where they when you called up, what you got was, hi, I'm not in right now. You know, there are really only two questions in life. Who are you and what do you want? At the tone, please leave your answer. Well, that's not bad when you think about it. That kind of boils it right down to the bare essence. The three questions for me are, where are we going, what do we believe in, and why do we exist? Now, you can call that all kinds of things. I've been in, frankly, too many vernacular engineering debates with management teams about, are these vision, are this values, is this mission, what do you call all of this, I think, is less important than the clarity of our focus and the answers to those questions, again, for ourselves and for others. So starting, first of all, with where are we going? What's our image, what does success look like? You hear a lot of people talk about what they don't want to have happen. It seems to be a whole lot more difficult to really get clear what it is we do want to have happen. Years ago when I started my, well, this whole kind of world opened up for me when I started with Culligan Water Conditioning over in Belmont Avenue in Kitchener, way back when, as a Culligan man, and met some people, read some books that really opened up this whole area to me. One of the thoughts that I came across was actually a thought that came from Earl Nightingale, who way back in the 50s and 60s was famous for a lot of his work in this area. And he said, we become what we think about most.